The Tim and Tony podcast is brought to you by. So Bucked Up. Tell the good people about them, Tim.
Okay, so here's the deal. A lot of my friends who have been asking me about Bucked Up since we got the sponsorship told me, Tim, when I get a pre-workout, it feels like I'm a meth head on Mountain Dew. And I will assert, as I've tried many other brands, that is the case generally. Not the case with Bucked Up.
No.
And particularly not the case with this little product that I just started using. It's called Heat Hardcore. I started using it because I started a cut yesterday.
Oh,
trying to get in shape for going to Mexico in August. So we're very excited.
Oh, okay.
So for all of you who are looking to get into your Mexico body shape, Heat is a good pre-workout substitute. It's only got like 150 milligrams of caffeine. It helps you burn off fat really nice. Or just going for the traditional pre-workout where they have a bunch of delicious flavors. I have a huge ass stack next to me.
The chai spice is incredible.
Yep. Oh, and there's another product of theirs that I didn't try until I was sent it. Is those racked BCAs are
oh my God,
life-changing. Those are awesome.
So the rack BCAs are fantastic. I've taken some other BCAs and like I know I took them, but I didn't feel them. This one, I feel like I could cure cancer. Disclaimer, you can't, but you feel like you could. The Pumpocalypse, oh boy. And if you use that in conjunction with the pre, you're going to have a fun workout. So that's to say, there are plenty of options at Bucked Up Fruities, and we're not even talking yet about the protein and the meal replacement protein. Both of those are very, very delicious and lean. So, Tim, why don't you tell us about that promo code?
Promo code. Again, go to buckedup.com. You can only use this online. You cannot use this at any in-store location. Go online to buckedup.com. The promo code is TNT20. That's spelled TANDT20 for 20% off your entire order. You can order one product. You can order 50 products. It's 20% off the whole damn thing. So go to buckedup.com today and let's start working towards those Mexico bodies.
Yeah. Use those supplements. It'll change your workout, change your life like it did us. So let's talk about Title, Tim. Why do we love Title so much?
I've got a Title sweatshirt on right now, and it is by far the most comfortable thing that I own in my entire closet. I absolutely love this hoodie that I have on, and they make the most comfortable gym attire that I've ever worn, frankly. Tried out a lot of brands. We're not going to name them on here, but you know who they are.
Absolutely.
And these guys make by far not only the most comfortable feeling clothing, they make the best looking clothing. They make you feel like a fucking badass in these things because they're perfectly tapered to make you feel very confident.
And I mean, if we can feel like badasses, that's pretty impressive. So y'all need to buy the stuff. I've got a hoodie. I've got a sleeveless hoodie that is just as douchey as it sounds, but fuck, is it comfortable? Their shirts are, like Tim said, perfectly tapered. The shorts are incredible. So, you got to buy the stuff. And here's the thing, though, Tim. Why don't you tell them about that promo code?
Okay, so Untitled.com. That is spelled TYDAL.com. Use the promo code TAND15. That is TAND15 for 15% off your next order.
Off the whole store. Like, you can get all their stuff. You can literally buy the entire stock of their website, and you can get 15% off of all of that. And I suggest you do that because every single item that you buy there is going to be incredible. So, Tim, wow, YouTube, you're giving the YouTube audience something to look at. So, Tim, the Lakers have made some moves this offseason, including but not limited to getting one former MVP, much to my chagrin, Russell Westbrook to join LeBron, Anthony Davis. Dwight Howard's back now. Alex Caruso has both been arrested and has left the Los Angeles Lakers because he's a little bit too much into the weed. Russell Westbrook, a Laker with LeBron. Thoughts?
Yeah, so one of the funny, I was really hoping, by the way, that you were going to ask me about Rich Paul being sued.
Yeah, we can cover that too.
That'll be later.
That'll be later.
No, but the best part of this whole saga was when LeBron comes out and he's like, so are we too old and washed or are we stacked? Which is it? And he deletes the tweet like 2 hours after he sends it. I don't know if you're familiar with modern media, but that's how it goes. There's differing opinions on these things, LeBron. Some people who have watched 6 basketball games since 2013 think this team's stacked. Others who like basketball and have watched it. Yeah, and have watched it and know what's going on, know this team has potential to be good. But overall, it's really old and it's got some of the weirdest personalities in the league all in one spot. I can't imagine Westbrook and Melo playing together again.
Yeah. By the way, Melo is also on the team. And Alex will introduce you formally to the audience in a second, but what were your thoughts?
I may fall into that category of saying that I'm a basketball fan, but I probably have watched about 6, maybe 8 full games since 2010.
Okay.
And I was under the impression that this team is pretty stacked. That being said, though, Melo, Westbrook, and Paul, they were all on the Rockets together, right?
Yeah, I mean that's right. Westbrook and Melo played together on the Thunder for 1 year.
Thunder, that's right.
I don't know. When you think about the mercurial personalities of LeBron, Melo, and Westbrook on one team, like
that's not going to be the problem. Here's the problem. They just got somebody in Russell Westbrook. So let's just go down the list. Can't shoot. Not great handles. Doesn't play good defense.
Awful. He's a fucking turnstile at defense.
Turns the ball over a lot. But he shoots a lot. He dribbles a lot. He passes a lot.
LeBron's never played with somebody like him.
Nobody's played with someone like, okay, Russell Westbrook has about the basketball talent as like Dion Waiters. And that actually might be pretty disrespectful to Dion Waiters. If Russell Westbrook wasn't an athletic unicorn, he would be probably at the level of, say, Javon Carter, who, Javon Carter's an NBA player. He's very athletic for what he is. He's good. He's a good team guy. He's good. He brings the bench together, brings energy. Russell Westbrook, I cannot stress this enough, does one thing well, and that's be athletic. And ever since he got COVID, he's done that less and less and less. Russell Westbrook can drive to the basket pretty well. That's the one thing that he does well. He's not overly a great finisher. He gets to the line a decent amount, and he shoots okay from the free throw line. If the Lakers can get Russell Westbrook, if they can put a shock collar on him every single time he's outside of the 3-point line with the ball, that would be great. If they can get him, because there was a 2 or 3 week period when Russell Westbrook was on the Rockets where he did not shoot at all. The only time he did one thing when he got to the ball, he drove to the basket and either shot or passed and drove and kick. If they can get him to do that and actually play decent defense, okay, now we're looking at something. And when you're playing with LeBron, that's to convince someone to do something, you're with the right guy. And by all accounts, Frank Vogel's a good coach. So it might work out. But Russell Westbrook is not very good at many things that you need to be good at when you're a professional basketball player, and especially when you're a starting point guard on a team that wants to win a championship. So that's a long-winded way of saying this has the potential to not go well at all. It also has the potential to be a very good fit because that's what LeBron James does. He makes shit work. So
I think he's going to be traded by January.
He might.
Would be my guess.
He might.
Because I'm just telling you, LeBron's never played with somebody like that is just mindless, has no feel for the game whatsoever. Because usually those guys go stand in the corner for him and just do what he tells them to. That's not what Russ is going to do. He's going to take it up every single time.
He might, though. We
No. No. He's 30. He's 34?
No,
like
he's 31, 32.
The guy's okay. The guy's been playing for his 15th NBA year. He's all of a sudden going to figure out how to play basketball with other people.
And when he was playing with another generational talent in Kevin Durant,
he was awful. He did the same thing.
I know. That's what I was about to say.
Yes,
that's
the whole point.
He led the team in shots when, like I said, not a good shooter. When you have Kevin Durant, who's arguably one of the top 3 best shooters that we've ever had in the game. So he has no basketball IQ. This is it. Who knows? Who knows how this is going to end up? So anyways, that's to say that this next NBA season is going to be very fun. Elvis Monroe, please play us in.
In a crowded room, somewhere in town.
So Tim, who do we have as our esteemed guest today on the podcast?
Yes, we've had some of our really unique friends on this podcast. I brought my friend Alex on today. Some of my earliest memories of Alex are climbing up the giant Lego at Disneyland, at getting me lost on every single hike that I've ever been on. Alex is great. And Alex is really the only person who I love enough in this world to have watched this movie again. So welcome, Alex. It's nice to have you.
Thanks for having me. I was just telling these guys that when I was I've never done a podcast before, so I was looking at some of their older stuff to just kind of see how it goes. And I didn't realize that you guys had already reacted to this movie. And in that about 10-minute reaction, Tim said that the last thing he wanted to do was to watch this movie again.
So what I'm going to need you to do in about 6 months, Alex, I'm going to need you, and if you could write this down or put a reminder in your phone, in about 6 months, I want you to text him. I want you to say, hey, man, I just watched this thing called Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's really long, but I really liked it, and I want to come on and talk about it on the pod because we've already done a podcast on it. Tim hates it.
Mm-hmm.
I want him to watch it again. So if you could do that for me.
That's a 4-hour movie.
Yes, it is.
I think I could watch it again.
Perfect. That's the type of energy that I need from you. Tim, it's going to be a good time. So that's to say, Alex, welcome in. Love to have you. Thank you for getting Tim to watch Tenet again. So, Alex, why did you want to talk about this movie?
I've always been a Christopher Nolan fan, and
welcome in.
Here's the thing with this movie is my expectations were just
sky high. So I was and the fact that I knew that this movie was going to deal with time, I knew it wasn't like a classic time travel thing, but right.
I was nervous to see what he would do with it. And I spent even before, the trailer was really vague. All you did is, you saw stuff going backwards. And
Yep.
even just with that, I probably spent like 3 hours just going down the rabbit hole trying to figure out, okay, what is it that he's doing?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I came across was, have you heard of Maxwell's Demon?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was one of the things I looked at, and I was like, oh, which for those listening, it was basically a thought experiment from some physicist in the 1800s, I forgot his name, where, the second law of thermodynamics states that, the universe is getting progressively, the entropy is increasing, and it's a law. There's no way that you can reverse that. But if you were to have two boxes with a door in between them, and entropy just means disorder, so increasing disorder. So if you have two boxes with a door in between them, and you have this demon sitting on top, if he could see all of the particles moving around at random in each box, and he could see the fast ones when they're about to hit the door, he could theoretically open up this door, let all of the fast particles go into one box, and leave all of the slow ones in the other.
Yep.
And that theoretically decreases the entropy, which I guess Christopher Nolan decided that he wanted to do that with people and things using a magical machine.
And cars and planes and artifacts and death and bullets. It's so that what you just described, if one was to want to fully understand what you just said, would probably need to hear it a few times.
Yeah.
That is the perfect way to start a podcast about a movie that you need to see at least 4 times.
I would agree, because I've
Fully
seen it
understand?
3 times. I've seen it 3 times, and I probably spent the equivalent. I didn't watch it a 4th time, but I probably spent longer than the duration of the actual movie.
Yeah.
Trying to sort out, which I don't know, maybe it's a waste of time, but
So this is okay, great. So I've now watched this 6 times. I have come to the conclusion the plot of this movie doesn't matter. The plot, what actually happens in the movie, doesn't matter. But because Christopher Nolan is so adept and so talented at making a movie, it's still an enjoyable experience, because this movie is ultimately 2 things. This movie is great cinematography, which Nolan always has. All of his movies have phenomenal cinematography. They always have the same feel, and it's a very well done experience to watch visually. But that's less important, because the second thing that this movie is it's a cool idea. The idea being that, hey, what if we're able to reverse stuff? Just reverse the physics of items and beings in a world. And what chaos, like what you were saying earlier, what chaos would happen as a result of that? Unfortunately, it results in a plot and in a script that is chaos ridden and just plot holes and plot mines just everywhere.
That's probably my biggest critique of like Christopher Nolan is this was, I mean, I like Christopher Nolan.
Love him.
And he makes these really creative stories, but this was just
this,
like I said, my expectations were up here, but this was just too much. Like and what made it, because I wanted to like this movie, and overall I do like this movie.
Yes.
But it did not meet my expectations, because it's just it's a cool concept, but it's like you said, it's just pure chaos in terms of the plot holes, and it's just some of the stuff in there is preposterous.
It's absolutely asinine, some of the things that he tries to do, but it's ambitious, and he's today and possibly ever the most ambitious filmmaker that we have, because he's willing to do shit that no other director would even try to do and no other writer would try to write. And he's doing both. So the movie starts out, and Tim, by the way, say anything at any point you hated the movie. So, pick your spots if you'd like. You could treat this as a Star Wars movie if you'd like.
Here's the thing. My parents were watching this movie 2 weeks ago for the first time.
Yep.
And so I sat down and I watched it with them then. What's amazing to me is that my parents and I disagree on every movie that's ever been written or produced.
Right.
They've never liked a single movie that I consider to be good, except for like the all-time greats.
Yeah.
And they legitimately like this movie. Like legitimately found it fun and exciting. And I'm like, what's fun and exciting about it? Because there's not a single moment of this movie that I felt like Tony said, there was no discernible point to any of it.
No.
There was zero.
I think it's like misleading because all of the perfect, I mean, aside from the storyline, which is, I think we can agree, a very important part of a movie.
Usually.
The rest of it was perfect. So
yes.
So
I'm so glad that there's somebody else that understands what I'm saying. Because if this was just me and Tim, what I'd be saying right now would come off as just fucking batshit insane. When I sit here and say, because we're ultimately going to get, did you like the movie? Yes or no? Yes, I like the movie and I will watch it. I have watched it 6 times and I will continue to watch it every once in a while because it's an amoeba. You notice completely different because there's so many things going on in the movie. You notice completely different things and it's a different watch every single time because shit just doesn't make any sense and you latch on to different things every time.
Well, when you're trying to, what I realized is when you're trying to, I didn't even realize until after the 3rd time I watched it and then after doing some research that there's actually not 2 people that are simultaneously in this. There's 3. And in Neil's case, if you believe the theory that he was that little kid at the end, there's 6 versions of him.
Which I do believe that. So it's I know I go back and listen to these just to see if there's like verbal tics that I need to take out or just stuff that I don't like listening to that I do.
When you say things like the plot doesn't matter, things like that.
No, that's just honest.
Yeah, no, I got you.
The word incredible, I counted in one podcast in an hour 24 minutes that I shared time with you, Tim. I said the word incredible 36 times.
I know it's annoying as hell.
So
once every 3 minutes?
Yes. So I'm gonna try and not use that word the entire time in this podcast. But the movie is great in that even though it is starting out at the point that the plot is terrible, still a great movie. So
terrible.
It starts out with my second favorite Christopher Nolan opening scene of any movie he's ever done. The first, obviously, being The Dark Knight. This scene is awesome. It's exciting, and you don't really know where it's going because there's no explanation. And as every other Chris Nolan movie, the trailers don't give you a damn thing. But that's why they're so exciting, because we know that Chris Nolan is bringing an original thought and an original point of view to each one of his movies, which is why there's a lot of excitement whenever one of his movies comes out. It's this heist. We don't know who's really the good guy or the bad guy. We see John David Washington. It's very well coordinated. They're going in and out. They're trying to get what we find out is this artifact. And then they get it, they get out, and then he ends up chewing a pill because he gets caught. And then, we come to find out that was a test of loyalty to see if he's going to get adopted into the Tenet program. Yeah. But this opening scene is very well done in that Chris Nolan is very good at doing action sequences indoors. If you think about the movies that he does, a lot of his action sequences are within like hallways, they're within rooms, and that's much more often people do action sequences outside because you can blow stuff up and then you can make much more aesthetically pleasing stuff happen. He does this indoors, and the fighting mechanics in this movie, and especially in this first scene, are a lot like the dream sequence action sequences in Inception. So it's just cool. But you're about to say something about the opening scene.
Yeah, well, I guess this was just a side note, but when he's being interrogated by I don't know if it was the Ukrainians or the people working for Seder, but
Who knows?
you know, why don't they just make sure that he's dead?
Eh.
Like, I feel like there were a couple things like that.
Alex, what you're doing right now, you are jumping into a plot point and you are trying to make sense of it.
I should know by now that
that's not what we should be doing. That's not what we should be doing, because we don't know anybody's motivation to do anything in this movie. Which, as I was talking with Tim on one of our previous podcasts for the Suicide Squad, that was one of my biggest critiques, was that we didn't have a lot of motivation behind people. We don't know why anybody's doing anything in this movie, except for Cat.
Okay.
Really
quickly.
Go ahead.
Because I think that Nolan, in my opinion, has gotten this unfair reputation for being willing to do original projects where others aren't. Yep. He literally just did Dunkirk, which is a historical fiction movie based on real events, not an originals. And he did fucking Batman, which is all based on other source material. So this, I mean, like this whole idea, he did Inception.
So two projects of his, 12?
Let's see, you got The Prestige, you got Inception.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
I'm just saying, people act like this guy's creating his own shit all the time. Inception was good, Interstellar sucked, and this movie was awful, like reprehensibly terrible.
Okay, The Prestige, Memento.
Congrats. You do original movies that aren't good. Like, maybe read a book every once in a while. Base it off source material that we already know is going to work.
God, I will say that Dunkirk was, of all his movies, Dunkirk was probably my least favorite. And I think it was because he was trying to make it historically accurate. I think one thing that he's good at is really building the suspense in a movie. But when you're trying to be historically accurate, he just kind of followed like different storylines that didn't all coincide. And
the thing that he's great about doing is not giving a fuck about people like Tim.
Oh, right. And he's totally immune to critics, famously.
He just doesn't give a shit.
That's not true.
He makes his movie, and people like me and Alex, who have an open mind and enjoy good things, we enjoy his movies. People like you that have a closed off mind.
Give me $100 million budget. I'll give you an original shitty movie, and people will go see it, and I'll make a ton of money. And then I can pretend to be a genius about it. Because I read one fucking physics book.
You want to know who won't be in your movie though? Leonardo DiCaprio won't be in your movie. Tom Hardy won't be in your movie.
You're correct.
John David Washington
won't be
in your movie. Michael Caine won't be in your movie. Joseph Gordon-Levitt won't be in your movie.
And by the way, those people wouldn't have been in his movie had he not done Batman, and they weren't prior to Batman.
Leonardo DiCaprio wasn't in Batman.
Inception's after Batman.
Oh, so now
I'm saying they wouldn't.
Hey, you got Tony, Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale.
No, I'm saying that he didn't get huge actors prior to Batman, prior to doing a huge box office franchise.
Have you heard of a man called Christian Bale? Hugh Jackman?
I guess that might have been after Batman Begins.
Guy Pearce?
Do you understand that?
Al Pacino?
Hey, Tony, name the fucking director of the upcoming Batman movie. The only reason they get Robert Pattinson to do it is because it's fucking Batman. It's not because they want to work with Nolan.
Is Al Pacino a big actor?
You're acting like all these people that want to work with people like Scorsese or whatever because he's done amazing movies. That's not Nolan. People want to work with him because his movies make a shit ton of money. And they bring an incredible amount of. I'm just saying, he's not a genius.
Al Pacino worked with him well before Batman. What are we
Al
talking
Pacino's done weird shit over the last 20 years. Have you seen some of the stuff Al Pacino's been doing over the last 20 years?
Can we agree that
Robert De Niro was
Okay,
in The Intern. He was in The Intern.
Chris is slitting his wrist right now at trying to figure out how to edit your voice. Relax. It's okay. You're wrong. It happens, but you're wrong. Al Pacino's a big actor. Hugh Jackman's a big actor. Christian Bale's a big actor. Guy Pearce is a big actor. It's okay, but you're wrong. It was a bad take. We'll move on. Which is funny because it brings me to my point that Tim is actually going to enjoy. The sound in this movie, the sound mixing is awful. It's absolutely terrible. It's the worst sound editing I've ever heard from a Nolan movie because half the movie you can't hear people talking. But again, as I said, doesn't matter because the plot does not matter. And once you get past that, it's a very enjoyable movie.
It's very hard to get past that.
It is. It is. It really is.
I guess one of my critiques of Christopher Nolan movies is that when you already know when you're watching something the second time,
yeah,
you can still get into it, but when you already know what's going to happen, it's not like the first time. But usually like because of the sound and you can't not hearing what people are saying and the fast-paced nature of it, like half the time when I watch his movies, like I don't even know what's going on until I watch it the second time.
Yeah. Now, Tim's shaking his head. I don't think Alex or I are saying that this is anywhere near his best movie or even necessarily a well done or good movie. I don't think it really is a good movie. I like it, but
it's definitely not good.
There are so many problems with so many different parts of this movie, and I'm getting into them, but it's still a Nolan movie. I still enjoy the hell out of it because I am a huge Nolan fan, and I understand that. So, sound editing is terrible, but
much like this podcast.
The sound is terrible because you don't have your microphone. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I guess it could be.
So well done to you, Tim. And again, Chris, I apologize. Have fun editing. Can I just say, Christopher Nolan, he made Dark Knight, and that was unfortunately one of the movies that had the issue that there was a shooting that went on during I believe it was the opening weekend of The Dark Knight Rises. Very unfortunate, obviously, event that happened. A very bold move by Chris Nolan for the opening scene, as though I said that it was very well done. It was my second favorite opening scene that he's done. Very bold move by him for doing a theater shooting.
Well,
and I believe I said,
and anybody, they just gassed them.
Sure,
but the intent was there because they placed bombs.
A theater heist. Then I should say, a very bold move and very like eerie because this came out, as everybody remembers. This was the sort of movie that was to open up the theaters during COVID. And then resulted in it being released on HBO Max and led to Chris Nolan not being as much of a fan of HBO as he or Warner Brothers as he was previously. It's a bold move. It's a bold move.
What I have to say about that opening scene is when I saw The Rise of Skywalker in IMAX. Probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Just a side note. But what made that movie was that prologue at the beginning of Tenet, which was that opera scene. That was my favorite part of Star Wars, and
yeah,
I've never been
was
so
the
pumped.
hope.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
I've never been so pumped for a movie after seeing that, like, because I didn't know what it was, but just based on the style and like the soundtrack and the intensity, I was just like, this has got to be Christopher Nolan's next movie. It has to be, and I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I want to be nice for 1 second.
Whoa, wonderful.
No, I want to be nice because the opening sequence is good. It was enjoyable. It was 30 minutes before I fell asleep when I watched this movie the first time, if you'll remember when you heard the podcast a few months ago.
Which is why I'm trying to say different things than I said before.
The one thing that I do respect, especially in light of this recent Spider-Man trailer that has come out, I respect the ability to just be like, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
This is basically what my movie's going to be about. I hope you come see it.
This is good because I wanted to talk about this. And this was a big thing with Tenet. All we really got was that the name of the movie was Tenet, that John David Washington was in it, Robert Pattinson was in it, and that was like a big reveal. That was a big like, whoa, that's cool. Like he famously isn't accepting big roles. Obviously we knew that Michael Caine was in it. I don't remember if he was in the trailer or not, but just we always know that he's going to be there, and he pops up, and it's a very enjoyable scene. And then we get that Ken Branagh's in it, who is, for my money, the most problematic part of this movie, but we'll get to that. But Nolan's willingness to not put anything in his trailers, but put just enough, everybody at that level should be doing that. Spider-Man. I'm sorry. If you're not going to see the movie absent a trailer for Spider-Man, I haven't met you. You're either going to see it.
It's a bad job by them. It's a really bad job by them.
You're either going to see it or you're not. It's why The Rise of Skywalker, The Last Jedi. What are we doing? What are we doing? Hey, motherfuckers, Star Wars. It's coming out July 27th. Go see it. Maybe show a lightsaber. Maybe show the Millennium Falcon. Maybe. That's it. It's fucking Star Wars. It's fucking Christopher Nolan. It's fucking Spider-Man. It's Marvel. It's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Hey guys, I just want, if every one of their trailers was just Kevin Feige on a stage walking out in some random ass hat saying, hey guys, we have a new movie coming out. It's called Spider-Man No Way Home. It's coming out September 27th. Tom Holland's in it, Zendaya's in it, and some other people are in it that you're going to get to see when the movie comes out. Hope you see it. Can't wait to talk about it more with you. Fade to black, put the date, put the title, end. That's what you need. You don't need to ruin plot points like what they just did. And
like reveal. Reveal all three villains?
Hold on. I haven't watched it, so I don't know. Once you told me that, I haven't watched it.
They revealed all three villains.
Great.
In the trailer. Every single one.
Don't want to know who they are. I don't want the movie ruined for me. So there you go. I don't need trailers to movies that I already know I'm going to see. I just don't. So, anyways, back to the movie. Michael Caine shows up. And again, I am not going to go through every single plot point. Guys, watch the movie. It's cool. Don't get too sucked into it. Christopher Nolan.
Don't even try to understand it.
I'm not trying to endorse the movie. I'm not trying to endorse the movie. In writing this movie, Christopher Nolan, apparently this was 20 years in the making, and that makes sense.
Not surprised.
That makes sense because this movie was overwritten insanely. This was very much it came out as though someone had an idea. What if shit moved backwards? Okay, we started there. And then he locked himself in solitary confinement for 20 years and then said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not even going to give people names. I'm just going to call this guy the protagonist. Why? I have no idea. Because it sounds cool and edgy.
Well, we know why. We went to law school with people like this, people that need to appear as like they're more intelligent than they are, and because so, it's indie, it's hip to do the protagonist. It's like, you know what that is? That's you thinking too hard.
And this movie, it reeks of that. And I have defended Chris Nolan. A lot of his critics say this, that he is very insecure.
Yes,
And
he is.
he's very easy to critique because a lot of his movies are basically just recitations of the same thing, just with different actors, different lines, and different set pieces. It's a common critique, and it's sort of true, but because he's such a good filmmaker, the movies are enjoyable. This script is batshit insane. It's poorly written, and it's his worst script that he's ever written.
For me, this is 0 for 2 though, because Dunkirk,
so?
in my opinion,
Oh,
because his last one's Dunkirk, right? So I'm not like, I'll give flowers where flowers are due. The guy's made some of the greatest movies of all time, and he has a unique style that when you watch his movies, you know that it's him. We talked about this in the last podcast,
right?
But he kind of reached that Leo point right around Dunkirk coming out, where everybody was like, "Wow, this guy doesn't have a best director. How have we done this?"
Yeah,
the Russell Wilson MVP conversation. It's like, well, go back and look at it.
And I'm waiting for what his Shape of Water is going to be.
I know. That's my problem. That's my personal issue, is that he's going to win for something, and it's going to be 10 years, and it's going to be like, look, we were there.
It's going to suck.
We saw.
It's going to suck because he's going to get The Revenant, and it's just going to be like, all right, man. I mean, I guess like he was cool. I mean, if he would have won for Dunkirk, that would have actually made sense, because that played to every single sensibility of the Academy.
Yes.
But like, he's gonna come out with some weird movie like this, but it's gonna pander more to what the Academy likes, and he's gonna win. It's gonna be like,
and that's my point, is that
it's a Lifetime Achievement Award. I get it.
This lull will be forgotten in like 10 years, is my point, where he made Dunkirk, where he makes Tenet, where they were both just kind of like, you know what? They came and went. There weren't really conversations other than weird podcasts like this about them.
And if you're a Chris Nolan fan, like, Dunkirk's a fun movie. I've watched it a couple times. It's cool. You have a couple drinks. It's like, again, the cinematography is beautiful. That's the one thing that every single Nolan movie does very well. It looks really cool. It looks really well done, because they're very high budget movies. So invariably, you're going to get a very well produced movie, which is why the sound mixing is that more frustrating. But again, I will move on from that, because the most problematic part of this movie is one of the most respected humans in cinema, Ken Branagh. His character is fucking weird, and not in a good way. He made some choices that are just wild. Like, the energy that he brings to the yacht bedroom scene, and then the like conference room at the like warehouse that they have the machines that reverse shit, where he like almost kills Kat. Those two scenes, he decides to turn up to like 72,000 for no reason. And nobody else decided to do it. It was as though he didn't tell anybody that he was going to do this. And then Chris Nolan was just like, I'm not going to tell Ken Branagh that was terrible, so I'm just going to move on.
Although I will say that I was genuinely surprised. I think he's a pretty versatile actor.
He is.
Just knowing that, you know, he's Gilderoy Lockhart from the Chamber of Secrets, and he plays, in my opinion, one of the meanest Russian villains I've ever seen.
Yeah. And he's very good in Dunkirk. Like, very good.
Oh, that's right. He was one of the
he gives some of the best 1,000-yard stares I've ever seen in my life. He's right up there with Nick Cage in National Treasure, of just, I am going to stare out here and not do a single thing, but I'm going to be captivating. He killed it. Because he didn't have any lines, because nobody said anything in Dunkirk. So, yeah, like I said, the fighting mechanics very similar to Inception. It's very cool when a filmmaker puts an individual touch on his movies, and you can just tell by just what's on the screen who made it. So a lot of stuff happens. A lot of the explanation of the world happens. Was it too much, too little, or just the right amount?
Way too much.
Way too much.
I would even say Inception was a little bit too much, but still pretty close to perfect. He just took Inception and then...
Yeah, I said the first time when we talked about this movie is Inception on meth.
It's because when you're trying to make sense of the... like, okay,
you just can't.
Well, there's the things that just don't make any sense that are preposterous. You just put those on a shelf.
Yeah.
But even the it's impossible to try to keep track of a plot that's going in two different directions
at the same time.
At the same time, because you have to, like what I did when I was trying to understand what was going on is you have to pick an event and then imagine the perspective of each character going backwards. But you have to do that with each event that you think about. And even then,
and to further just fuck things up in your brain, it's not a mirror image. Like the stuff that's happening the other way is different. But it like ends at the same points, but they get there in a completely different way. And it's so ill-conceived and it's so clunky. And it's just bad.
I just think it's like you said, I think he really wanted to do something.
Yeah.
With when things go backwards. And he just wanted to do it so bad that he was willing to just have all of this chaos.
And he did it so bad. He wanted to do it so bad, and he did it so bad. Though the pincer movement, the idea of it, where you have like these two different like military units converging on this moment together, and like the fact that one of them is doing something that's opposite to the other one, but because they're moving in opposite ways of time, they actually work towards the same goal. Wild. Wild. Tim, you want to say something? Go ahead.
No, I don't want to step too much on my limbo lesson, especially when limbo lesson comes from another. But I do have to say this. More is not always better. Okay.
Yes.
In many areas of life.
Because the pincer movement, you can look back to, funny enough, Dunkirk to see just gratuitous shit blowing up. The pincer movement, you want to know where 80% of that production budget went to? God willing, that was the first and only take that they did on the pincer movement. There is shit blowing up. There is shit getting thrown at different actors, which I don't know if anyone was harmed in the making of this movie. I pray to God that nobody was, because it looked like there was like 17 different instances where someone could have gotten decapitated. This was the closest to a Michael Bay movie as I've ever seen Christopher Nolan make. Where just, okay, for the next 20 minutes, nobody say anything. I'm just going to blow everybody's ears off with just explosions and shit going everywhere. That's what the pincer movement was. Cool idea. In execution, it was just too chaotic.
It's just too much, especially when you're considering, okay, like everything going in reverse is like deterministic. But when you go into that, when you're the one that's inverted, how then it's just like there's so many things wrong with trying to exert your will in a reality that's going backwards. Also, why did John David Washington or the protagonist even bother? If he knew that was him, then why did he try reverse shooting him? Like, I mean, I think that was just fluff, but come on.
Yes, it's absolutely fluff because there hadn't been an explosion within the last like 10 minutes. So we got to do something. Though I will say, John David Washington, there were some choices that he made, and in some in some interviews he talked about how when he's not his inverted self, he acts a certain way, and when he's his inverted self, he acts in a different way.
Like in
And
the
I'm-
decisions he makes, or
Yes, and the way that just the actor moves about doing things. So in the normal world, in the forward moving world, he's much more quick with his decision making, and he's much more charismatic. In the reverse way, he's very like robotic and very much not charismatic and very slow moving, because apparently his direction was to make it seem as though the reverse world was a less defined and much more, like we keep saying the word chaotic, but much more chaotic world, because it's the reverse world is much more it's much more connected to the forward world in what happens. And so a lot of the criticisms of John David Washington's movie was a lot of the stuff that happens in the inverted world, whereas that was an intentional thing.
Okay. Yeah, I was guilty of this on the first pod. I can own up to it because I listened to the conversation also. I was like, are we sure he's good? Because in that, there were parts in that movie where I was like, this either is intentional, or this is garbage.
Or it's bad.
Like it can't be, it can't be like somewhere in between. It's one of the two. And reading up on it later, I mean, not only does he say this is the cousin of Inception, that's the other thing we knew coming into this movie.
Yeah.
But he did reveal that part of it, that the quote unquote bad acting throughout was intentional.
Yes. And again, if we're talking about what the actor did, the actor does what he's directed to do.
Well,
not a great choice by Chris Nolan, because on rewatch, the reversed world scenes are tough because there's not a lot to look at. There's just not a lot to watch. And you're just confused because you're trying to understand what's going on the other side. And because it's too clunky, because there's too much going on, you just can't. And that was the decision that was made. Unfortunately, John David Washington starred in a Chris Nolan movie, and this was not one of his better movies.
Hey, you know what? People always want to say it's easy to make a big budget action thriller that people are going to like. Case in point, hell no, it is not.
And by the way, I said earlier that the degree of difficulty on this movie was high.
Oh yeah, no, I'll admit that. Yeah,
but as I said with the Suicide Squad, that doesn't mean that that's like in defense of the people that made the movie, because in this case, the degree of difficulty was high because Chris Nolan made it high. This was his own doing.
Yeah.
And defense of James Gunn, while he decided to do a movie that was going to be a high degree of difficulty, he himself did not make it a high degree of difficulty. So, you know.
Well, exactly. But, you know, I just keep like the popular movie critique right now is that what Marvel does is easy, or that what Star Wars does is easy.
And it is not.
Or what Fast and Furious does is easy.
And it's not.
I'm just telling you, it's not easy, because this movie is an example of, I think they made this movie for just under $100 million, if I remember right. It's the classic example of throwing an obscene amount of money at something with a great director, hoping that it'll work, and it doesn't, because you know what? Not everybody can do it. That's what makes Marvel so incredible to all of us, is that they keep doing it.
So real quick, the budget was 200.
Okay, see, I read something else.
Box office.
But box office, it made money. It made 363 in a global pandemic.
That's
yeah, but
considering the situation.
Considering a lot of people that watched it for free on HBO Max. Like, it is not a secret that Chris Nolan is one of the few just automatically bankable people in Hollywood, This
agree
is
with
a
that.
this is a perfect explanation or a perfect example of it. He made a bad. I'm now comfortable. Given our conversation, I'm now comfortable saying he made a bad movie. I enjoy it, and I will continue to watch it more and more to try to explain it or understand it more. But that's me. I'm not going to expect the normal person to watch this shit 7 times.
I would give it. I would say that I liked it. I would say it's a good movie. Well,
Really?
Well, I don't know. It's so hard because
No, make the case because
Yeah,
there's a
no,
lot of people.
I'd probably give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10. But I was hoping my expectations were it was just going to be like
and you know
9.5. Like
7.4 out of 10 on IMDb, 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, 69% on Metacritic. That's where everyone is. And by the way, hey,
it was worth watching.
Oh, absolutely. And I'd give it probably in the low 60s.
By the way,
it's problematic.
This for the record.
Example of. Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say while we're on the box office, Black Widow made 370.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm just saying it's about at that level though. Like that makes sense to me.
And by the way, Black Widow, it's a bad movie.
I haven't seen it.
You're not going to hear an argument here.
Yeah,
it's not good.
Is it enjoyable to hang out with the people that are in the movie? Yeah, it's cool. Like Florence Pugh in the movie is incredible. Scarlett Johansson is very charismatic and a very good actor and is good in the movie, but it's a bad movie.
It should also be noted it made a little over 100 million on Disney Plus, but that's a whole separate thing. It's a separate thing. We're not pro or anti ScarJo here.
I want this to be
I am
known.
pro ScarJo, and I am behind. If she needs any legal services on her lawsuit, I am very available. I am fresh out of law school. I am post-bar, and I am unemployed. Give me some work, ScarJo.
Okay, I want this movie to be a symbol to all future directors that if Christopher Nolan cannot pull off a movie about time travel, just everybody stop. Just stop.
We had Endgame. They did it. I don't know how it made sense. But it did. Hold on. Endgame actually made sense, but they didn't rely on it nearly. It wasn't the main premise of the entire fucking movie. The name of the movie is exactly what we're going into, and it's a palindrome in and of itself, and that's supposed to be the whole thing, is that it goes both ways. Cool. Bong hit doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but this is Back to the Future syndrome, right? Somebody does it once.
So Back to the Future was just a bunch of bullshit?
No, I'm just saying, like, Back to the Future has a bunch of holes too, but so many people loved it, and it was such a unique idea that as we go along, people are going to keep trying it. I'm just telling you.
And,
they are.
I think it's because the time travel was. It's kind of like what you said about Endgame. Is it wasn't. Well, it was kind of relied upon to move the plot along, but I don't know. I guess
it wasn't the premise.
It
wasn't the premise of the movie, though. Yeah. Like the whole reason for the movie existing is not to be in the world of time travel. It was a movie that was the climax to this very big story arc, and they happened to use time travel as a device to solve the problem, but it wasn't primarily in every moment of the movie informed by the fact that we're going through time in a different way than just forward. But to further that point, so Robert Pattinson's character, for my money, is the most interesting part of this whole movie.
And the hardest to follow. And
my argument
I still don't know what happened with him.
My argument is, and because if you accept this, it makes the movie a lot simpler. He's the unmoved mover of the movie. He doesn't his only motive is to basically come in and just nudge stuff just enough to make sure that the entire thing doesn't blow up. He comes in, nudges John David Washington just so that he stays on the course. He nudges certain things throughout the movie, throughout the story, to make sure the protagonist stays in place.
One thing that I didn't like is that at the end, how did he know that he was supposed to get shot in the head at the end? Did he tell him? Did the protagonist tell him? Or was it just like...
So there is a lot of argument because traditionally you would think that if you're talking about time going one way and then the opposite way, then the opposite way, it would be the same thing as the forward movement, just in its literal opposite.
Mhm.
However, we know that not to be true because of what we see in both timelines. So my argument is, say there was a sequel, which, by the way, Chris Nolan,
Not the one to do it on.
not the one to do it on. Give me the sequel to Inception. Don't give me the sequel to this. Just don't. Give me the sequel to Interstellar before you give me the sequel to Tenet. But John David Washington's inverse character is the one that set this all in motion. John David Washington's inverse character knows everything that's going on. John David Washington's inverse character set Robert Pattinson in the timeline to make sure that John David Washington's forward-moving person got to the point at the middle when that pincer movement ends to make sure that everything stays in place. So the sequel to this movie would be John David Washington, the protagonist's inverse journey, which I think would have the potential to clear up a lot of things. It would be Chris Nolan's way to retcon stuff to make the first movie make sense, that's the argument for making it, because you could do a lot of work with it. Do I want it?
No.
I want it less than a lot of other
too
sequels.
much time trying to understand this movie. I just feel like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of done at this point.
Yeah. So they could have done this a lot better. They could have done it a lot simpler. There could have been a lot less people in this movie. There's way too many people in this. Because you're dealing with time travel and because you're dealing with two different storylines going at the same time, and some argue 3, 4, 5, 6 different at the same time.
I don't think you could. I don't even think you could. If you have that same concept as the premise, like I just think it's impossible. Although
it's just ill-fated, is what you're saying.
Like I don't think, given how complicated that concept is, I think I would say he did a pretty good job for how complicated it is. Like I don't think anybody can make a movie about that makes any sense.
And you might be right, because if he can't do it, like what other director has this experience in doing stuff like this? Like this is Chris Nolan's wheelhouse, and it wasn't done well.
Nobody's going to try for a little while, and then we'll forget, and somebody will do it.
Yeah.
So a funny note that I saw just in my multiple rabbit holes of this movie, when they were making the movie, they were trying to make this feel like a World War II era movie or documentary, which I have to say, I just have to say, I get absolutely none of that at any point of the movie. There is zero of that influence.
It's actually incredible. No, it's incredible, because I've seen that too. It's one of the more. I don't even know what to put it up against as far as someone not understanding what the fuck they actually put out.
That's
looked like or was.
Like I read that, I believe, after the second time that I saw it, because I saw it 2 times in theaters. And I saw it when I got home from the second one. I'm like, what? I didn't get that at all. And so then, and by this time it was already on HBO Max. So because I'm insane, I then watched it again that night on HBO Max because, it's free, looking for something World War II era.
It's not there.
It's not there.
It's a post-apocalyptic sort of, but it's also
closer to Blade Runner than it is World War II.
What I was going to say,
it should have with the future.
It should have just been, this happened on another planet. Like that would have been more believable.
In a long
Than
time
what
ago
they
in a galaxy
allegedly-
far, far away would
No,
be a much better
no,
explanation.
I'm entirely serious about that.
Yeah,
That would have
no,
been a much better premise.
Okay, I
than
do have a
saying-
hot take though about the overall just message of the movie, which I don't know if anyone's come out and said this, but I need to get into a little bit of the plot holes and then
That's fine.
offer the only way to reconcile them.
We're an hour in. If someone's still listening, they care. Go ahead.
Okay, so you know how it's just absolutely ridiculous to catch a bullet out of a wall, because unless you're talking about, there's an infinite number of realities being created throughout the movie. That's one thing. Okay, but let's just say.
And by the way, if you want to talk about like, I don't know if are you a Marvel fan, Alex? Have you watched Loki?
I have not. I got pumped. I was about 10 movies behind for Infinity War. I caught up for that, and then I saw Endgame, and then I haven't seen any Marvel after that.
Okay. Well, then thank you for your service. You watched 23 movies. You know what? If you decide that that's where you decide to exit,
I think I'm going to retire.
That's fine. I respect that.
I respect it.
You've probably watched the best of it. Just going on odds, you've probably enjoyed the best of it. But all the stuff that's come out recently outside of Black Widow has been incredible. But
really,
you're talking about creating infinite timelines.
Hang on, there's people drinking right now. Tony said incredible. Sorry, keep going.
Oh shit! Did I?
Yeah, no, I was waiting for it. Sorry, I've just been like sitting here waiting for it. And you did.
Damn it!
So
damn it. Okay.
Thanks for that. That was nice.
Yeah, but I mean, we're an hour in. We're an hour in. And
I know.
1 per hour.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If I could keep it to 1 per hour, that would be incredible. So you talk about creating infinite timelines. Somewhere Owen Wilson is losing his shit because he has to prune just a lot of timelines. That's all that joke was getting.
You would hate this movie.
He would absolutely hate this movie because he would have a lot of work to do. So,
but what I was going to say was not necessarily about the potential of just infinite timelines, although that's something we could talk about.
Yeah, I'm just the asshole that interrupted you.
Oh, but the thing is, imagine, so you become inverted and then you break some stuff in the world. So then, what if you're like the maintenance guy that walks into this art gallery and you see some bullet holes in the glass? It's or like, where did they show up? Did the person making the glass just? I mean, there's just no way to explain that unless the message of the movie is that
say your limbo lesson, maybe
sure the universe is actually deterministic and it's a reverse universe. Because that's the only way you can allow for, which I guess means that the past where the window is still clean and not broken, maybe that's an alternate reality, or it actually doesn't exist. The only true universe is the one that's moving backwards from the inverted time, which then it makes sense because then everything that's already happened, that's already predetermined.
And then the inverse is reacting to it.
Yeah. So
that could be
By the way,
we solved
I
it.
apologize. I'm being told now that people can hear my clicking on the computer. I'm researching. Everybody just relax.
Who told you that?
No, there's we'll talk about it later.
Okay. We're keeping stuff from the audience. That's interesting. I don't think we've done that before. This feels good. I feel powerful. So Tim, what's your limbo lesson?
Here's the thing, guys. Hang on, I got to get comfortable for this.
Just don't get too close to the mic. I don't want Chris hanging himself.
I don't have a mic.
That was the joke.
2 big things. Number 1, when you're trying to be smarter than everybody else is the moment that you're truly not smarter than anybody. Okay? This is true at work. This is true in life. This is true in movies. When you are trying hard to look and sound smart, you look like a dipshit. Okay. People who are smart, like actually smart, don't need you to think that they're smart. They just are. Okay.
Right.
That's just the way they are. Second,
Oh,
and we're
getting two today. I like it.
Yeah. Second, I just want to reemphasize.
Yep.
More's not always better. It's just not. Sometimes, you know what? Ketchup's a wonderful condiment, but if you drown your hot dog in it, all of a sudden it becomes disgusting.
If you put it on steak, you're a serial killer. Yeah.
Just more is not always better.
Yeah.
Relax. Everything in moderation.
So that actually. Oh, go ahead, Alex.
I was going to say, in the words of my dad, if Inception was drinking Christopher Nolan from a water fountain, or maybe this isn't his exact words, but
oh, I'm loving this. I am loving this.
He didn't say
take a second, get your thoughts together, because I want this to come out perfectly.
Here. I think I might have butchered it, but
it's okay.
In this movie,
yep.
Christopher Nolan took a fire hose,
yep.
shoved it down your throat, and then turned it on full blast.
No, it's accurate.
We should end the podcast on that. We have more. We have more that we need to get to, but we should end it on that.
If the hose was just pure marijuana, going down his throat,
or just ecstasy, really,
or just shrooms, just straight up, no, you're right.
More shrooms, just like blended up shrooms, just freaking going down there, So then, okay, this actually changes my MVP of the movie, but my limbo lesson is it's specifically a message to Chris Nolan. Looking straight into the camera, Chris, relax. It's okay. You've made some of the best movies that I've ever gotten to enjoy. It's okay. You don't need to keep doing bigger. You don't need to keep doing more risky. Just keep making great. This is too much. You took too big of a bite of the apple. It's okay. We all do it. You got to find the line.
We all do it. That's the important thing.
We found the line. Let's stay on the Dark Knight side of the line. Okay? Please. Because I love you and I hate having to defend this movie. I really do. Because it's indefensible what you did. You took an idea and you killed it. You took it out back, you shot it, and then filmed it. You really did. And by the way, I will continue to watch it just because I like being in worlds that you create. But stop. It hurts. So that's my limit. You're hurting me.
Tony.
You're hurting my feelings because Cool. Thank you, Chris. If you'd like to come on and tell me more about Entropy.
I won't even come on. You won't even have to deal with me.
Yeah.
Maybe for his next movie, he should have before the movie even starts, just an hour where he records
a director's commentary.
Or no, where he has expert consultants that he went to just sort of explain in the most concise and clear way possible
what the fuck
what
is
you're
going
about
on?
to experience.
Just a primer.
I would appreciate it. Everybody else would absolutely hate that, I think, but I personally would appreciate it because I still don't know what's going on in this movie.
Yeah, and by the way, they over-explained it, and I still don't know what's going on. But
no, they have a whole scene dedicated to explaining it, and I still don't know what's going on.
What they or either that or periodically throughout the movie, just they just pause the movie,
Big Short style.
Have a 5-minute break.
Just have Margot Robbie in a bubble bath explaining to me what the hell a subprime mortgage is.
and have a just a diagram of everybody's timeline. Maybe their motives too might be nice.
And that's how we get Michael Caine to be in every movie going forward. He's at the interstellar chalkboard at NASA. And he's explaining stuff. That's perfect. Let's do it.
Although the most important piece of information that he had in Interstellar, I did not know what he was saying. It wasn't until I went home that I realized when he was on his deathbed that there was no plan B, or no, that there was no plan A. It was always plan B.
Yeah.
It's like, come on,
and
like
plan A was just to motivate people to do the things that are necessary to do like, plan B. Yeah.
That is a crucial piece of information. Can you just say it just a little bit clearer
and a little louder?
Just or just have the captions. It's all
not make it on the man's
deathbed. I'm sorry. It's another one of those moments where it's like you're going to tell Michael Caine to do a scene again. I don't think so.
That's why I said just have the captions just for that.
It was good enough. It was good enough.
And again, Michael, we love you. You've never done anything wrong.
Hope you live forever.
Hope you live forever. I know you're not. So I hope that Chris Nolan makes as many movies as humanly possible, as fast as possible to get you.
You're not doing any other ones.
We love you, Michael Caine. We love you. So my Brandy the Dog MVP award, and Alex, I don't know if you listened to our Once Upon a Time in Hollywood pod, but Brandy the Dog from that movie, we named the MVP award after her because she was more clear than any other movie that we've done. She was the clear MVP in that
Brad
movie.
Pitt was a close second.
But even then, like,
killed his wife. It's kind of tough to
kill his wife, and
I didn't know
that's tough.
Moral fortitude was like the criteria, but
it can be part of it. It's not necessary, but it can be part of it.
Wait, but did he though? Or was that just a rumor?
Tarantino went on a podcast this last week and said he killed her.
Alex, and by the way, I didn't need Tarantino to tell. Come on,
me neither.
Just watch the movie.
Yeah, me neither.
So, Brandy the Dog.
I mean, he was holding a spear gun, so
yeah. My Brandy the Dog MVP. I was gonna give it to John David Washington just because he was great, but my Brandy the Dog MVP is Alex's father. Because that is the best
that's a good
way,
pick.
because that is the best way I have ever heard the movie described. And I'm going to use that. And I'm going to use it. I'm stealing it. And I'm not even going to credit your father because I'm a horrible person. I'm going to say it as though it's an original thought from here on out. So
I'm sure he'd be fine with that.
Yeah. So your father, he's a genius in describing this movie. Tim?
It's so hard in this movie.
It is.
The fact that I'm giving
it to our guest dad should tell you something.
Because I'm so tempted because I want to give it to Elizabeth Debicki because I think she was the only actor or actress in this movie. I thought she was legitimately good in it, like the whole time.
And I get it. She was having to act opposite Ken Branagh, who is terrible in it.
And you know what? I get it. I'm not smart enough to understand what all the actors are doing in this movie, apparently. That's fine. The most traditional, good acting performance.
On its face. For normal people to enjoy.
Hate her character. I don't like her. I don't think I would get along with her. And so it's hard to make her the MVP, but she's an incredible actress in this movie.
Are you going to make a decision?
You know, my MVP is the good folks at Warner Brothers who made nearly double on their investment on this movie. And it just goes to show you. It just goes to show you. They're in the correct business. You made good life decisions.
Except when it comes to DC. So.
Yes.
Except when it comes there. Who would you want to be in this movie, Alex?
Is this based on the character or the performance of the character?
No, you are living out the character's life.
Oh,
who would you want to be doing? Because for me, it's easy. And if you need a second, I can give mine.
Sure.
Michael Caine. He's eaten in very nice restaurants. Seems like the most risky part of his day is getting into a car and going to said nice restaurant. Looks like he's got a great tailor. He's dealing with some important people. He looks like he's well off. Michael Caine, whatever he does, I want to be him. And that goes for most Michael Caine performances, by the way.
I want to be the inverted protagonist.
Really?
I just want to be going the right fucking way for 1 second in this entire movie. And he's the only one who's going there. So
and he seems like he's the only person that understands what's going on because he's the one that created this entire world.
Exactly correct. Yeah. He's the one I want to be.
Okay.
I'll tell you who I don't want to be.
Okay.
I'll start with that. I don't want to be Neil because if you believe in the
shit on,
if you believe in the theory that Neil is actually Kat's son, then that means that he spent the majority of his life, probably like a good 20 years, going back in time just so that he could catch a bullet and save John David Washington at the Kiev Opera. That if that's not depressing, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that's a good answer. That's a good answer. I'm jealous of that one. All right, Tim, it's time to do. And we, by the way, Chris, if we could add some sound or something or some like chime,
damn it,
something.
Chris.
Tim, I do not want you talking that way to Chris. That poor man has nearly quit because of your audio. Because of your audio. So, Chris, we love you. You're doing yeoman's work. But if you could add something like a siren, something, use your creative juices. I trust you to tell the viewers or the listeners, viewers if you're on YouTube, listeners if you're elsewhere, that we're about to do the Ted Cruz Award. So, if you could put it right here. Thank you. So, the Ted Cruz Award. If there's one person in this movie that you could punch in the face, who would it be? Tim, who would it be?
Christopher Nolan. Easily. Not even close. Here's the thing. This has been my case for a long time. Some people are not made fun of enough as children, and they're not made fun of enough as adults.
And you've said this multiple times about Christopher Nolan, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think he was made fun of enough as a kid or as an adult. I'm just saying, like,
I want everybody enough as a child.
I want everyone to pursue their dreams and whatever they want to do ultimately. Yeah. But you know what? You need to have a little bit of fear that if you do something just fucked up out of your mind like this, people are going to make fun of you.
Yeah,
and he doesn't have that.
He has no fear and he's sensitive. So it's a bad combination.
I'm just saying.
Alex?
I would have to say the people that are from the future that are trying to acquire the technology, because
the artifact.
Because if the world's getting destroyed from global warming or whatever in the future, and you want to reverse that, even if you were to reverse that, you just gave up your autonomy. So it's just going back to the Big Bang and then maybe starting over again and getting back to square one. So it was a clear lack of planning on the future's part. If they're smart enough to foresight that technology,
they should
have a little bit more foresight.
It's a tough beat for them. It really is. Mine is Ken Branagh. not him as a person, the character. Well, kind of him as a person too, because he did such a terrible job and kind of fucked up the movie. No, you know what? Yeah, let's go, Ken Branagh. Ken Branagh, you fucked up the movie.
Would you use his own threat against him?
Yes, I would. That's exactly what I'd do. You were terrible. You were just very bad. You were in a different movie than everybody else. You looked like you were on. It looked like you were on something. It just like you weren't there all the other days of filming. You were just there for your scenes. You didn't read any other parts of the script, and you made a choice. And Chris Nolan didn't have the time, money, or patience to tell you that you fucked it up. So,
that being said, come on the podcast anytime.
Yeah, hey man, you have been the reason for some of the greatest moments in cinema. You are incredible. This was not your day. It was not your day. Love to talk to you about it, and you can tell me why I'm stupid. I would love to. I would love to. If we could do a beer summit, that would be great. Now, Tim, would you punch Christopher Nolan or Ted Cruz?
Easily Ted Cruz. The correct answer is always Ted Cruz.
Oh wait, this is what this is. You choose between punching Ted Cruz
or the person that you gave the award to. Yes.
Because I want to specify, sorry, I don't want to, like, what Alex said is true, but Ted Cruz is fucking up my reality. Those people are messing up everybody, like these fake people. He's screwing up my life.
it's a shtick that we do at the end of here because I just want everybody to remember that Ted Cruz sucks.
Is it? Let's see. What's the magnitude of the punch?
Like you want to knock the guy out,
or
yes. No, like as hard as you possibly can.
He is held by
probably not hard, but
hey,
I'll give it my all.
Manny Pacquiao ain't built like a brick shit house either, man. Though he didn't he just lose this past weekend? That's who cares? But Alex, what I'm saying is that whether you believe in your ability to give a good punch, that's irrelevant. Punch him as hard as you can, and it's a still target. He's not flinching. He's not moving. So, again.
Okay.
And he probably likes it deep down.
Probably.
All right. Maybe I'd go for the voice box. Just like,
Yeah?
Yeah.
I respect it.
Okay. I
respect it. Look.
Out of commission for a few days, but.
Yeah. So sorry.
Nothing to make me feel too bad.
So are you saying
hurting another human?
So are you saying Ted Cruz, or are you saying the future people?
I think Tim made a good point about, that's a reality that doesn't exist. Right. I think, this reality is a lot more relevant. So I think I'm going to go with Ted Cruz.
And that's the right answer, because my answer will always be Ted Cruz. Because not only that, even if he was a good person, he just has such a punchable face. So, it's just, it's there for the taking. So
Exhibit A for more bowling and skulls. Sorry, go ahead. I'm just saying there needs to be more. Like we can't allow people like Ted Cruz to flourish.
So wait, hold on. So you're going to end a conversation about Tenet dipping into a Chris Rock bullet control routine? Is that really what you're going to do right now?
We need more bowling and skulls.
That's
been saying it for a very long time. We need more of it.
That's incredible. So, I just said it. Damn it. Shit. So I think that's it. Alex, do you have any more thoughts about this movie?
No, I think I'm done thinking about this movie
for at least a little bit. We'll revisit it, and you and we can jump on a Zoom call and talk about it. We don't need to record it because I think we've covered enough Tim and Tony podcast. Yeah, Tim, you're right. He just wrote in the chat, the real Limbo lesson is the friends we made along the way. And that's a very positive note. And that's the last note that I think that we should hear at the Tim and Tony pod make about this movie. It's not the movie itself. It's that it all brought us together to agree that this is not Chris Nolan's shining moment. So Tim, we've done the Obama doc, since this is going to come out after that one. I believe it's your turn to pick.
Oh, it is. It's finally come time.
Because we gave Alex the opportunity to choose Tenet. I chose the Obama doc. You chose National Treasure. So, without further ado, what are the people going to be listening to next?
I have a movie that I know Tony hasn't seen.
Okay.
And it's going to bring light and joy to everybody.
Really?
We are going to watch the Christopher Robin movie that came out 3 years ago, where Ewan McGregor plays Christopher Robin.
The R-rated Christopher Robin movie, right?
No, it's PG. It's a kids movie.
I thought
How could you make it R-rated?
I thought they did.
No, it's a kids movie, but the guy went to war and stuff. So there's some
That's what I was thinking of.
Some serious elements.
Okay, so have you already seen this?
Yes.
Is this going to be an up situation where I'm just mad?
No, but we're going to have some ticks. We're going to have some things to say about parenting, as we always do. Yeah. We always have some insight on that topic, and this movie is going to provide a vessel.
There has been rare times where I've gotten to opine on parenting. Every single time I do, I actually get a response, and it's a very angry response.
Every time.
This is going to be fun.
Every time.
This is going to be fun. Wow. That's interesting. That might be on the same level as like Together for number of listeners, though. We'll say
Easily.
good.
We might change it in the interim. So stay tuned.
As we're liable to do, because I mean, we announced that we're gonna do Shithouse. We haven't done Shithouse. We've announced that we've done Almost Famous. I might just be done trying. Brian, we love you, but to get you and Tim on the same level, on the same just life schedule, has proved to be damn near impossible. What other movies have we said that we were gonna do and just haven't yet? I feel like
Taylor
there's more.
Swift documentary.
Yeah, we might have to do that. We might have to do that when Red comes out, or Red Taylor's version. Sorry.
Yeah.
So,
It's,
anyways,
we're not perfect.
we're not.
Neither is Christopher Nolan. So.
And unfortunately, I could have argued up to this point that he is. It is now. It's a dark hour in my life because I now know that Christopher Nolan makes mistakes, and he did. And it's okay. It happens. So that and putting masks on Tom Hardy 3 times. It's very rude. Just saying. So, anyways, Tim, do you have anything else? Or actually, Alex, you got anything to plug? You got a book coming out? Something?
No books coming out.
No.
I just want to reiterate just to all the directors out there, just please, if Christopher Nolan can't do it, neither can you.
Neither can
Don't
you.
try.
Neither can you. And if Kenneth Branagh is going to make that big of a mistake in the movie, just don't try, because he's a genius. Ken Branagh, he really is. That
Okay, I do want to say something about him. Despite all the hate about him throughout this podcast, I actually enjoyed his character.
What?
I just think he played it. I just think he played it well, but it was maybe a little, just a little too much in that scene. When they're in Estonia, it was like his version. It was his version of This Is Sparta.
Oh, it was his version.
Except
again,
maybe just like a little bit less.
Alex making you and your dad making the best points of this movie. It was definitely his This Is Sparta moment, or he definitely thought that this was going to be his This Is Sparta moment. And I think everybody on set saw that he tried to do that, and everyone's just.
But it's different when you're like
cool, man.
When you're kicking like an Assyrian messenger into a well versus a helpless woman, you know?
Yeah. Everyone kind of looked around and they're like, we don't want to make him do it again because we don't want to put this poor actress through that again. So, hey, thanks, Ken Branagh.
Although
I think we're going to call rap on your part, my guy.
In real life, who do you think would win in a fight? Because the actress, I think she's like 6'3". She's got to have a decent reach.
See, okay. So I've actually thought about this. Ken Branagh, it looks like he was on some bulking diet before this movie. Like that dude he got big for this role.
He was on Bucked Up.
He was on Bucked Up, and he used the promo code. He really did. As everybody else should. I'm pretty sure he'd get some work in. I don't think she'd really stand a chance because that he's angry, and that goes a long way.
That does. It's like a pit bull versus like a Dalmatian.
Exactly. It's like, one's bigger, one's got a bigger reach, but I mean, one's got just.
But I mean, who knows? Maybe the protagonist could go back in time, teach her some jujitsu.
That's possible, and if that's what's going on, he didn't look like a very skilled fighter, just a brute force, like I'm just going to throw you up against the wall type of thing.
Throw in a cheese grater.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, if she had some training, I think she would have a good chance, especially like jiu-jitsu type of training. Because I think that's the one. It's either that or Krav Maga. The main part of it is using the other person's weight against them. So like if that's what it is, I think she has a decent chance. but if she's just how she's coming into this movie, I don't think she stands a chance. Unless she like gets a gun or something. But if we're just talking fists, I don't think it's close. So anyways, I'm glad we did this. I'm glad that we didn't just do the like 10-15 minute opening shot at this movie, because there is more to talk about, obviously, but it's a bad movie, but I like it. It sounds like, Alex, you like it and you think it's a good movie.
Yeah.
And Tim's not even on the
Good
screen.
being the score is greater than 5 out of 10. If that's considered good.
Sure. And by the way, real quick, Ludwig Jorgensen, you mentioned the score, and I know that you didn't mean it in that sense. Ludwig Jorgensen, you are incredible. You are a god. Tim, okay. Here's the thing, Tim. We're trying to be professionals here at the Tim and Tony pod. Tim has left. All I'm asking is an hour and a half of his time. He left, went to the bathroom, and then didn't even have the common decency to mute his mic to where we could hear the flushing of the toilet, which is just incredible by you, Tim. Just incredible. So, sounds like, Tim, you came down to you didn't like the movie and you think it's a bad movie. Is that fair? We are a audio medium, so if you could say
pretty
that.
well.
There it is. Thank you very much, Tim. We might need to do some media training for my podcast co-host. But anyways, that's Tenet. We're going to be doing Christopher Robin next. Where we're currently sitting. Maybe the stars will align with Brian to do Almost Famous. I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. So anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. And of course, I'm never going to forget. The day that I forget is the day that I will quit, or will go back and edit it in so I don't have to quit. Ted Cruz, please go fuck yourself. Elvis Monroe, please play us out.
One day, someday, fiction girl. She's my one day, someday. She's my one day, someday. Gotta have her, gonna call her baby. One day, someday. She's gonna call me baby, gonna have a family. I can see it in her eyes. Our future's so, so bright. Gonna wake up by his side. One day, someday. She's my one day, someday.